Hi, everyone. My name is Tatum, and I'm coming to you live from Michigan. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you all had a happy holiday. I hope that you guys all got some time to kind of relax, just kind of chill out. That's what the holidays are for, right? Spending time with family, friends, relaxing, and just kind of giving ourselves a little bit of a break. So I'm hoping that you guys all got that, at least the first part of the week. I know we still have some people who are off into next week. So if you are, happy holidays to you. You are very lucky. I wanted to kind of touch on really quick that this time of year can be really hard for a lot of people, whether they're kind of going through a rough time, going through depression, maybe feeling a little bit sad because they're going through a loss of a loved one. Just kind of know that there are always people around. There are always people you can reach out to. And if you are feeling a little bit alone and lost because you don't have a loved one with you right now, know that you can always talk to them. Know that you can always reach for them and give them signs. The more you talk to them, the more they come around, and the more you ask for signs, the more they give you. You just have to kind of look out for them, because sometimes they might look a little bit different than what you asked for. So just kind of know that. Before we jump into some of these readings today, I wanted to show you guys some of the cards that I pulled this morning. As every Wednesday, I always pull cards. For whatever reason, the middle of the week makes me feel like I need them. So the first card I pulled is the Aphrodite card. This card is basically a symbolism of the divine feminine. This is a card where your creative, passionate side comes out to let that kind of explore, find that divine feminine, authentic self part of you, and let that really come out. And it's funny because then the next card we get is Bridget. She is one of our goddesses, and this is all about standing in your power. It's all about standing up for what you believe in, standing in your own thoughts. So if you pair these two cards together, what you're really getting is having the message of them telling you that you need to find your own authentic self and don't let your fear stop you. So this energy is going to carry in through the end of the year and into a little bit of next year too. So make sure, if you're kind of feeling down on yourself or kind of doubting yourself, think about this and know that the universe is supporting you and trying to kind of show you those signs. As always, I have several different people who have sent in messages for us to answer tonight. I prefer that way only because I can answer to more people. So if you do have a question, make sure you contact me. My contact information is below. If you go to my website, there's contact information there, or if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you can get the messages there as well. Just send me a message because I'd love to hear from you. We're going to jump right in because after that, we're going to talk about 2019 predictions, which I know everyone is super excited about. So Tina is asking, where should she put her focus for 2019? So Tina, there's a couple of different things. Your energy is being pulled in way too many directions right now. It's kids, it's family, it's job, it's work, it's your own personal self. I don't feel like you have a whole lot of time for yourself. So now is one of those times where you really need to make yourself a priority in 2019 and actually find your voice. If you don't like something, don't settle for it, because I kind of feel like when you don't like something, you swallow it as opposed to speak it out into existence. But you also need to, they're telling me you need to focus on job next year. There's something about job that's very important for you next year where we're kind of making a change. So make sure that you focus in on that as well, because it's something that's very important. Okay. The next thing for Sheena, I'm so happy that Sheena asked me this question. I have a whole bunch of them written down. You'll see me kind of looking over at my paper. Sheena wanted to know what the main message is for 2019. So there is a lot of different messages for 2019, but let's back up a little bit. So 2016 was a year of loss for a lot of people. They lost themselves, they lost jobs, they lost family members. It was just a year of loss. So it was a year of shedding. 2017 was about rebirth, kind of finding your own new self, kind of picking yourself back up and deciding who you want to be and where you want to go. 2018, this year has been the year of expansion. We have been doing so much expanding on what we're doing. Even if you feel like you're not necessarily doing it, you are. So make sure that you know that you're doing it and that you basically are following what the universe wants you to do. So many people feel blocked. But know that 2019, answering your question, Sheena, 2019 is about mastering yourself, really getting comfortable with who you are, letting the last parts kind of fall away, fade away from where we've been and where we're going. So it's mastering of yourself, self-growth, things getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so know that there are good things and blessings coming, okay? Especially for you, Sheena. There's something family related. It feels really good that's coming, something positive, and I think that you need that. Christina, what is the biggest highlight that's coming for me next year? So, couple of things. Let's talk about job first. Feels like there's a promotion coming, but you got to put the work in, and it feels like it's mid to end of the year. So, and they're also telling me that you're making me feel like we want to change jobs, do something different. You're not supposed to be doing something different, but I kind of feel like you're getting promoted within wherever you are. So know that you're taking on more responsibility, and with that comes more more abundance for you as far as money and just stature goes. They're also talking about a relationship, and I keep hearing bells dinging. So I don't know if you are married or if you're looking to get married, but there's some type of a change that's coming within your relationship. And anytime I hear the bells, that's a good thing. Okay. So know that you need to really focus on that. They keep telling me July for you, something about July within that relationship. So make sure that you really pay attention to what's going on around you in July. Heather would like career advice. Is this just a bad patch, or should I try something new? Well, it's kind of a little bit of both. So you do have a little bit of this rough patch because you have been at this place for so long. I do feel like you're good at what you do, but a lot of times you don't feel appreciated, and that's causing some of this rough patch as well. I don't see you leaving this hospital that you're at. I kind of see you moving locations, and it almost makes me feel like there's something to do with hours. Like the hours aren't exactly what you want. You want something that's a little bit more conducive for your own schedule. So I don't know if you go into more of a private practice or just a different area of the hospital. So you would ask me if this is just a rough patch or if this is a sign. So this is a sign for you to kind of pay attention. There's something inside of you that isn't sitting very well, that you're not necessarily 100% happy with where you're going, what you're doing. So pay attention to that and really ask yourself why you don't feel appreciated with what you're doing, because there's more there for you, but you have to go out and get it. Let go of that fear. I kind of feel like those cards that we saw today are directly related for you. So make sure you take a look at those, okay? Kitchell is thinking about buying a home in the new year. Do I stay where I am or do I move? So I do feel like you are going to be moving. Finances are not 100% ready yet. And don't just jump at the first thing. It kind of makes me feel like you have a little bit of impulsiveness there where you want to get out of where you are and really get into something different. Don't settle for the first thing, because there's something more there that you're supposed to have. Get your finances in order, and it doesn't make me feel like you're moving alone. So I don't know if there's somebody else who's going to be with you, a roommate, a spouse. There's somebody else who's involved in this with you in this buying process. So make sure you do that. And I keep hearing September. So like I said, hold out until you find what you want, because you are supposed to have this house, but you just got to have to get your stuff in order first. Sweet October Sky from Instagram was curious about her love life, feeling like she's been alone for a while. Is there companionship nearby? Yes, but the timeline is up to you, is what I'm hearing. So it kind of makes me feel like a lot of us who've been through relationships where they haven't exactly panned out the way we wanted them to. And so you kind of have built up some walls. We've built up some... And I don't feel like they're all necessary. There's walls there because we're hurt, and we still have to deal with some of that hurt. And so really start looking at that, because that's preventing you from moving forward. But they're also telling me you're not attracting the type of person you want to attract either. And so that's also kind of made you frustrated and kind of shut down. So with that, really make a list. What do you want to see in 2019? Who do you want to see in 2019? What do you want out of a relationship? Because I kind of feel like you've settled and then you get frustrated and then it's kind of done for you. So really make that list. What do you want out of this? Where are you going? And yes, companionship will be there. I don't see you getting married again. I feel like you have such a wall up around that, but companionship, absolutely. So just kind of know that the person that you're attracting and have been attracting isn't necessarily who you need to be attracting. So move forward into something that's a little bit more positive. Okay. Angie, it's funny. I saw you were on here and they're telling me that I have a message for you. You need to slow down, babe. There's something about whatever you're doing that is kind of causing a stir in your head. So take some time. All right. I know I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Take some time and relax, because they're telling me I really need to tell you this right now, because it makes me feel like my heart is about to like pound down on my chest. Like I got this butterfly anxious feeling. There's another opportunity that's coming your way end of January. So you need to watch for that. It's a business opportunity. And I know that's where you've been solely focused right now. So make sure you're looking into that other opportunity. And it's okay to walk away from other ones that aren't working. Okay. But I will see you in a few weeks, because I know that you're coming. let's jump into some of these 2019 predictions. So let me kind of explain how I do predictions. Everyone does these a little bit differently. I basically look at my predictions all year long. So I will show you. I have papers. There's about 4 pages of things that I've been writing down for the better part of the year, and I kind of scanned through them in the last few days to kind of see and ask Spirit if there's something that is still worth talking and sharing. When people make predictions, I always like to throw this out there because I think it's really important. Predictions are just that. They are predictions. It does not necessarily mean that everything will happen or happen at the exact same time. You yourself influence everything from your own life and everyone else's life as well. So when people talk about wildfires and praying for an answer, so the more people who pray, honestly, it stops it quicker. So just kind of know that how we all influence these predictions. Things can happen sooner, they can happen longer, they may not happen at all. We can prevent things, we can bring things. It's all in what intention we set. So let's kind of get started with some of these. I have quite a few. We'll get through as many as we can, but I'm hoping that you guys will find these as interesting as I do. So I'm going to start here with the U.S. because that's where we are, and there's so much that's happening here right now. Let's talk politics. That seems to be the number one thing everyone wants to know about right now as far as politics, economy, and everything kind of goes one in one. I've been asked this numerous times in the last 2 years, do I think that the president will be impeached? I do not. I do not see him being impeached. Though I do think there will be attempts. So don't mix that up there. I do think there'll be attempts, but I don't think he's honestly going to be impeached. There's something about what he's doing right now that is bringing positive, and even if you like him or you don't like him, whatever side of the fence you fall on, he is bringing awareness. Even by not knowing what he's doing, he's bringing awareness but to so many different things where maybe we would have just tolerated it before and we're not. So that's a huge reason why he's here, and I think that is going to continue. They are saying, though, his health is not great. So watch for something. It feels like September to me, feels like early fall. His health is not great. It is not anything crucial. It's something very minor, but there's something there that he needs to address. And if he takes better care of himself, that's obviously one of those things that he will be affected with. People ask me if he will get another term. As of right now, I kind of feel like he will. I know not everyone's 100% happy with this. So once again, you can influence this with your thoughts and whatnot, but don't put negative things out into the universe. If you don't want him to be president, put out there something that is more positive, maybe somebody that you want to run or be president. Joe Biden is not running, though, by the way. I know people had asked me if he was going to be running. He is not. And I don't think Oprah is going to run either. There's a huge humanitarian push that she's doing, even more so than where she has been before. And I feel like she's going to get some type of a big award in 2019 for that. Another thing, sticking with politics here, I do think that we are going to see another Supreme Court justice leave the bench. I feel like it's health-related issues. My bet, just based on what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, I'm kind of thinking it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I don't know 100%, but that's kind of where I'm leaning more towards. So if you do follow politics, if this is something that is big for you, know that there is probably going to be another seat open in 2019. Let's look into the economy right now, because politics and the economy seem to tie so much together. This has actually been a fairly good year here in 2018, maybe not for everybody, but as a whole, we seem to be doing pretty okay. Next year, I feel like is going to be more of the same. It's more of that upswing. We're going up, up, up. We're tracking up. So know that that's going to be something where we are still going to be in a good place, but there are changes coming. So as I tell you that with everything good that happens, where we have positive, we also, where you go up, you also have to come down. It feels like the end of 2019 into 2020, we are going to come down a little bit. It doesn't feel like a recession where people start to worry about money and panic. I don't want anyone to do that because it does not feel that way. But no, there's an ebb and flow with things. And so when we have a lot of good things that happen, know that eventually something is going to kind of bring it down a little bit. And I think we're going to see that at the end of 2019 going into 2020. With that said, the stock market, a lot of people have been talking about the stock market, especially in the last few days. It's going up and it's been going down. We are still going to see that next year. Okay. Once again, when it goes up, it has to go up. And when it goes down, it has to go down. That's kind of where we're at. I wouldn't get too worried about it because I feel like people are going to do fairly well with that. And they're telling me now I need to talk about gold. So if you are someone who invests in gold, gold is going to be a hot commodity next year, maybe more so than it has been in the past. So just kind of watch out for that. One other thing that I particularly love, because this affects myself as well as several people I know, the rise of small business. We have seen that a lot this year in 2018. We're going to see it even more into 2019. And in what they're making me feel is like into 2020. We see a lot of people that are kind of moving away from the larger scale businesses and moving into what they want to work on their own. They don't want to have a boss. So you're going to see a lot more of these mom and pop shops opening up small business. My advice to you would be to support them, because if you have a goal and a dream of wanting to have a small business, you want people to support you. If you can support them, please do so. And I believe this I've heard over and over again. I know we are on track to get there. This isn't necessarily 2019, but it's more 2020. And this 2019 gets wrapped up into it. We are going to have more products made here in the U.S. So no matter how you feel about that, as long as people are working, and I think people will be working in 2019, there's going to be a lot of work to go around for a lot of people, no matter who you are. Okay. But there's going to be a lot of products being made here in the U.S. again, which is a good thing. As we're talking about companies and small business and big business, they want me to bring up Amazon. Amazon is a huge giant, right? We've all probably purchased from Amazon. We are a frequent shopper to Amazon. It makes our life easier, right? So Amazon has some big things coming in next year from what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling. They are growing. It feels like they're merging, like they're taking over something, almost like how they took over Whole Foods. I feel like they're going to be taking over another large corporation. And to me, it has something to do with technology. So it's going to be even bigger than Alexa is what I'm feeling. But also with this, and they kept showing me this, airplanes. So I'm wondering if they buy their own fleet of airplanes or own way to move product. It's just kind of one more thing for them. And I think that it's going to be really good for their business, and it'll help people get their packages quicker. So there are some big changes with that. Let's look at people. Let's look at us as a public and what's kind of going on, at least here in the U.S. I kind of feel like we're already starting to see it in 2018. I know this personally, it's touched my own family, but I think that we are going to continue to see this through the next, they're saying 2022, gradual steps, but you're going to see the minimalist movement. You're also going to see the homesteader movement, if I could speak correctly today. We're seeing kind of a return back to community, a return back to small community, being more self-reliant. Those are all things that are really important and things that I think you're seeing within small communities, and they're growing. So if you have an opportunity to support the urban gardens in large cities, please do so, because they are one way that urban cities are able to kind of have some of that connectedness. There's also a lot going on from unplugging from social media. So some people may have already done this, or they do it in periodic time frames. There's going to be a huge movement to kind of unplug within social media toward the end of 2019 and into 2021, people not being as reliant as what they currently are on social media, which, whether you're on it a lot or you're not, there's a lot of valuable information that can be there, but there's also a lot of valuable time that is spent there where it could be also spent other places. While we're talking about social media really quick, I want to bring up Facebook. I know we are on Facebook right now. Facebook is great. It's a way to talk, but it makes me feel like there's going to be a lot of people moving away from Facebook mid-year in 2019, because I think that Mark Zuckerberg is actually attempting to create something that's kind of like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat all in one. And he's kind of recruited some of the best people to do this from what I'm hearing. And I think that we're going to start hearing about this like April, May, and it's going to move forward into the end of 2019 into 2020. So I'm interested to see what that looks like for him. He's always thinking, he's always creating something new. So that's pretty great. As we're talking about social media and technology, let's talk a little bit about technology that's coming. Robotics in healthcare is going to continue to be a big thing next year. Huge push, huge. I think we're already seeing this. I don't tend to follow the news a whole lot, but I feel like this is already in the news. Huge push for space exploration, more money being allocated for it, and more things kind of coming from it. So know that we're going to be hearing a lot more about space exploration next year and all the way through the end of 2020. So I don't know if there's important missions, things that are going to be happening, but that's also important. Let's talk a little bit about, one more thing they want me to talk about. They're telling me don't move forward. For anybody who remembers the Nextel telephones, cell phones, I think we're going to see Apple is what I'm thinking is going to create this. It's how it feels to me, where we have like these walkie-talkie type of communication cell phones that even work when signal is down. So be watching for that. If you are a huge Nextel fan, I think that you will love that. I know I personally loved my Nextel and was so sad when it went away. So I think we're going to start seeing these cell phones that also have walkie-talkies on them again. Look for Apple to be doing something with that. Let's talk about health really quick. I have a feeling, and I've been feeling this for a number of years, it's been building up since about 2017. We are going to see, they're telling me that we're going to essentially isolate a gene or find a reason for why people are getting multiple sclerosis and or Parkinson's, two very interrelated diseases, but things that are very different from one another. So watch for that, because I think as soon as we can kind of isolate the gene, multiple sclerosis touches a lot of people, especially here in the Midwest, especially women. And so they're trying to figure out where that kind of comes from. And I think next year they're going to get it. I don't think they're going to get a cure for it, not yet. Mid-20s is what I'm hearing for that. But if they can isolate the gene or the chromosome, wherever it's coming from, it'll kind of give them a head start as to where they're going. Let's talk weather. So here in Michigan, we're having some great weather right now. It's actually, today it was like 50 degrees. And if you know Michigan, you know that that is not normal for December going into January. But I've been telling people where people were really worried with the Farmer's Almanac that it was going to be this horrible winter. And I kept saying, it's going to be fine, don't worry. And now we're seeing it. I am concerned, a couple of things I need to talk about. California. Next year, I know we had a lot of mudslides and we had a lot of fires in California, but there is something in California that keeps drawing my attention, and they're drawing my attention north. So do I think that the mudslides and the fires are going to continue? I do, unfortunately. So let's make sure we're sending out positive energy to that to maybe help avoid that from happening or make it less than where it is. But they're calling my attention to the San Andreas Fault. So that is in Northern California. And they're making me feel like there's going to be a large earthquake up in that area at some point in time next year. Feels mid to me. And so really watch out for that, because it's not just going to affect Northern California. I feel like it's going to go all the way up and be felt all the way up into Washington. So when I ask as far as scale, it makes me feel anywhere between 7 and 9. So really watch out for that, especially for everyone living in California, and try to send love, light, prayers that way, because we don't want anything negative to happen to anyone there. Florida, I keep hearing about Florida. Obviously, Florida gets hit by a lot of hurricanes. I feel like they're going to have a lot of category 1s, which is nothing new to them. But they're telling me that we need to watch out for flooding, which to me, the way the map looked when they showed it to me was the eastern side of Texas up into New Orleans, Louisiana area, and then the western side of Florida. So we need to look out for flooding. I do feel like we are going to get hit with one major hurricane, so not a one in that area. So if you live in that area, just kind of watch out for whatever reason they're telling me that we need to talk about that and the flooding in those areas. Okay. Other than that, the weather, it feels very up and down. It feels very up and down here in Michigan. And I kind of feel like that everywhere, where we're seeing very mild temperatures in different places. So kind of look out for that. And this is always the best part, where we get to the celebrity predictions. I don't have too many of those because I try not to focus too much on those. But let's talk a little bit about this. Everyone always wants to know what the best movie is going to be, whether it be the Oscars or whatever show, award show is out. I keep hearing over and over again, A Star is Born, and look for Lady Gaga to be a surprise upset in that award category where she may win Best Actress. I feel like there's someone else who is kind of a shoo-in, and it makes me feel like she is somebody who's going to be upsetting to them. But good luck for her. We hope she wins. I do see Meghan Markle having her baby obviously in the spring, but I feel like she gets pregnant again very soon after. And I do feel like Kate and William are going to have another child as well, pregnancy this coming year. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll get to the rest of the predictions next week. I hope you guys have an amazing week off. Enjoy your new year. Make sure you set your New Year's intentions. Thank you so much for joining in.